man who fights crime, and we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time with John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
Attention, citizens of Fair Gotham, and welcome once again to Bat Minute and Robin, the show that has proven to be anything but a one-person show, nor has it been a two-person show. We've got guests. Ha ha ha. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
And I am here more mystified by this minute than potentially any other minute in this movie. It's me. Oh my god.
That's saying something.
There's something
Christ.
here, like I could write a symphony about how confused I am about one of the things that happens in this minute. But
Well, to help you write that symphony, we are joined once again by our wonderful guests of the week. It's Audra and Brett.
That's us.
This is us.
Hello.
We're very sympathetic to your symphonic needs.
I hope you have experience of writing symphonies, because Niall only works with the creme de la creme.
of course. That's why none of them have been published yet, because I'm just no one's good enough to co-write them.
That's what it is. Like, your work is fine, but your collaborators are just letting you down.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too tangential, but when you're writing your symphonies, do you do it with a quill pen?
Of course. It's
Okay.
the only way to do it. Like it's
And it's all in his head, so he's writing in his head with a quill pen.
Yeah.
That's
It's
how you
all
do
up
your
here.
proofreading job, isn't it, Niall? You print out the work you send,
Yeah.
and you edit it with your quill, and then you scan it and upload it again.
Yeah, it's always doing it in Oswald Cobblepot in that one scene in Batman Returns where he's got the monocle on and he's got the giant oversized quill. And it just looks like complete gibberish that he's scribbling violently on a paper.
Do you do it by candlelight?
Yes.
I hope
Of
so.
course,
And
yeah.
a filthy peasant shirt, and next to your bed, which is a bale of hay.
Have you been to Niall's house? Remarkable.
Mead cans everywhere.
It would be
Why
great if you went
not?
onto like a cam girl site and she was just on a bale of hay. And you're like, is this where you live? She's like, this is why I'm camming. Like, why I can't. This is the bed.
That'd be a good gimmick for a cam girl or cam boy. You know, like
Yeah.
I'm an old worldy peasant.
Ye
So
old
how have you got the
porno.
cam? Yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
It's magic. You know what? We're laughing. I guarantee there's an OnlyFans page that already does this.
Oh, I mean, there's something for everyone,
Yeah.
isn't that?
Exactly.
The whole
exactly.
idea.
And no shame here on Bat Minute.
No.
It'll be
No,
something
no.
that they got really fussy though, when you had to make all your requests in like old timey English. So it will be like, "With thine doth take off her dainty hoof, and reveal her sweet foot to me."
Don thy bodice.
Every time it's just like, "Show us your feet." They're like, "No, you gotta say it in old English." Aw, sweet maiden of the spit.
I love the way you went with "show us your feet,"
Oh.
revealing a lot about yourself.
Yeah.
maybe.
I remember this used to be when I used to go around to friends' houses when I was a teenager. One of them had like one of the cam girl stations that was just on TV, and because you're a teenager,
Oh, that one
like,
on the TV, was it the one over here? Was it Babe Station?
yeah, Babe Station. And like we'd always, I would put that on because it's just like it's good background. Plus, you're a teenager, and every time, every request was like, "Show us your feet, show us your feet, show us your feet."
Oh, wow.
Man. Babe Station, that was the Roger Corman New World picture that should have been made in the 80s that never was.
True.
Babe Station!
He's still going. He gets
Oh, yeah.
yet.
He's indestructible.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a million years old, but he's still
He's like
around.
98.
I love how I assumed he died about 15 years ago.
No, he can't be killed.
He announces this project, and all of a sudden, Jack Nicholson just appears from the ether, like, "Roger, I'm interested in coming back for this Babe Station project you got."
We are here to talk about Batman, allegedly.
Don't have to.
This, well, we can for a bit.
We
I
shudder
suppose.
at Batman.
Yeah, this is like one of the
Shudder
big
at the
minutes of the movie. This one is the defeat of
Yeah.
Poison Ivy, but
Defeat.
Yeah. And come to think of it, there may be a Roger Corman connection here that I want to talk
of
about.
course,
So,
actually, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Actually,
Tie it
and
in.
now I'm going to have to go off on another tangent because now I made that foot joke. It reminded me that there was a wrestler called Gail Kim, and she does this move, which she named. Basically, it's how do I describe it? It's a move where she sort of she drops their face onto a foot. Essentially, it's really hard to explain, and she called it "eat the feet."
God.
And it's like, that's genius. Oh, my God.
Is it
So
though?
now that's all I'm thinking. Oh, right. So, minute 101.
We're done with
This is
101.
Batminute 101.
Yeah, we're here to school you. It starts with some bondage, and it ends with freedom. That's quick
Freedom!
again, going from one to the other, isn't it? Yeah, bondage to freedom within a minute.
I will say that this whole fight between Ivy and Batgirl, it always reminded me, even since I was a kid, of one specific thing, and it's the only time I could ever probably insult the show, but it reminds me so much of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
It's the put up your dukes stance.
Yeah, it's the put up
a
your Duke
blonde
stance.
girl-
It's the
yeah.
the very much intensely choreographed minor fighting, and then stop to do a quip, and then do it again, over and over again. And I remember it bugged me in Buffy because it was like, just fight, just just take down the damn vampire, would you?
No, but that was Buffy's whole shtick, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was just because it was so much throughout that was just like, oh, you have one at the end or have one at the start or something. But it was always the same kind of thing every episode, and it always looked very kind of, because to be fair to Buffy, great writing and great acting and all this business, but fight choreography was a 90s television show where they weren't equipped for it, like unless it was like martial law and they had Sammo Hung there.
Oh yeah. Underrated show.
Yeah. But yeah, this really does remind me of that, because the fighting is just not impressive in any way. It's just very like, I think the whole fight really bugs me as well because it just doesn't utilize who they have. They kind of go for, it's the Catwoman whip thing again, but this time it's a vine, and it's like, this is Poison Ivy. She controls the plants. There's a million things you can do with this fight.
And there's a million plants in the room.
Yeah, and they just like, no, it's just a Buffy the Vampire Slayer like season 1 fight where it's not, there's not any, like, there's no success behind it, so they're not pumping any money into it at all. And
Okay, well, I have something I need to ask them, right? And I don't want to change the casting because we are Alicia Stans here on the pod. But Sarah Michelle Gellar as Batgirl.
Well, I think she was up for it. Apparently,
Yeah.
They said. I think we might have talked. I don't know if we talked about it before. But
It's been that long we've been doing this. I don't remember.
I think we were. It was rumored casting, but I think we were skeptical because it's like it was pre-Buffy, and it was like her and like Christina Ricci and stuff. And I was like, why would Sarah Michelle Gellar be next to like all these big
That
superstars?
was it. Yeah.
It's like, I think that's just somebody's written on IMDb. It's like, yeah, she's around at the time too. And it's like, I don't think she wasn't of the same caliber as those people though. Like they're looking for stars. They wouldn't go to some girl who's not done anything. Like it's, so then it didn't ring true. But as a casting, sure, yeah, Sarah Michelle Gellar in this era could knock that out of the park. I think at least.
Yeah. Though I really like, you just mentioned Christina Ricci. I really like that casting for Batgirl.
Oh, that'd be wild.
That would have been good. Like last week we mentioned Fairuza Balk and Brittany Murphy. But yeah, let's not, you don't want to bash Alicia. She took a role. She did the best she could. They wrote things on pages for her to say. Do you know this fight scene? Like you guys are bringing it up, and it's weird how in some spots, there's the fourth wall just crumbles or something. But this, I just, oh look, it's Uma Thurman and Alicia Silverstone. Oh look, it's their stunt women. It's like the very, I don't know if it's the editing, but it's like close up. I say something, I wisecrack. Long shot, stunt woman. And
You're almost expecting William Shatner's stunt double to go crashing into the side wall.
Yeah, it would be like in a perfect world, like there's a close up of Uma Thurman, and then they go long, and there's a Gorn suit. And
Oh yes. Well, she did wear that ape suit.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So it wouldn't be uncalled for. But yeah, I mean, it happens all the time. There's stunt men, and you have doubles, and it's about editing and camera angles. But this one just, I don't know. I kept thinking about, wow, the stunt woman did that in heels. Okay, and maybe because, I don't know, there's just something not real inspiring about the fight scene that you start looking for other things. Like, did her blonde wig move, or is that, stuff like that?
I think it's even in the novelization, because they do like Michael Jan Friedman, who wrote it, does like a lot to try to fix what he can of the script. And
Well, that's literally what he said when he was on the show.
Yeah.
He tried to fix the movie.
And he is utilizing things, because there's like things where like Ivy will cocoon herself in vines and stuff to protect herself momentarily, and then she'll like throw a barrage. At one point, she throws a barrage of nuts and berries at Batgirl to take her down. Which the thing is, like, it's silly, but then it's like, well, it's 60s Batman silly. Like, I can imagine back then they would be throwing like a giant apple at Batgirl or something. Like, yeah, do something like that. But this is so just like, yeah, it's just too. This could be anybody fighting.
I'd go really goofy. I would have her like fire pollen out of her hands, and it makes people sneeze.
Yeah, that's exactly the kind of thing she should be doing. Yeah, totally. That's even like even when she does takes out the little knife, and it's just so plastic looking. Like it's a really plastic looking knife. Like the hilt is very like
Yes.
That thing, Jesus.
And we'll say that I do love the little move she does of like she goes to fix her hair in the reflection there.
That's one good gag in this movie.
I
In my
adore
opinion.
that bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you might be shocked to learn though, Audra, not originally from this movie, because much like in talking about the ape suit there a moment ago, that was taken from Blonde Venus, starring
Marlene Dietrich, sure.
And this little maneuver is taken from Dishonored, starring Marlene Dietrich, which is it's another Joseph von Sternberg movie that she made with them back in the day, and it's actually about like an Austrian streetwalker during World War I getting hired to spy on the Russians, and she becomes the super spy Agent X-27. And I watched it. It's a very good movie. It's pre-code, pre-Hays Code, so it's dark as all as well. Like, and the thing is, it gets so dark at the end because she lets her, she kind of betrays the politicians and lets her, she falls in love with a Russian guy and lets him go, like by pretending he escaped, and then she's put up for execution. And at one point she's sitting like, she's like, oh yes, I just want a piano in my cell and for my original clothes to be given to me and all this kind of business. And then as she's getting ready to go out to be executed, she's like, do you have a looking glass? Which is, a mirror. And yeah, the guard comes over with his sword and he lifts it up and takes it out of the sheath, and she does this exact little thing with a reflection in the reflection of the sword. And then they wandered into this movie. But yeah, the end of the whole thing, you're sitting there like, okay, so she's gonna get away with this, right? Someone's gonna come in and rescue her. And like, no, the last shots of the movie is her going, I don't want to blindfold. One of the people refusing to shoot her, he gets shot himself. And then they just execute her. And that's the end of the movie. And you're like, whoa.
Does it just roll straight to credits? That'd be fantastic.
Well, it's like proper 1931, so it's not even credits. It's just like, the end.
Yeah. Go home now.
Because the credits had to be at the start. Yeah.
It's apparently based on the life of Mata Hari. He's an old sort of courtesan who was executed by the French government for being a German spy, and then over the years it's come out that like, no, she was just a scapegoat for the German or for
Does
French.
That surprise you?
So they just claimed, oh yeah, she was a spy. I was like, no, she wasn't a spy. It's the French didn't know what they were doing. But
man.
But yeah, that's another little. It's like a bookend Marlene Dietrich reference there from Uma Thurman to have the gorilla and now the little blade maneuver. But it's just a shame because that blade looks so goddamn cheap. But
it does.
Maybe that's why Uma Thurman's performance stands out, is like her and Schumacher really collaborating. Because I would assume Uma Thurman would probably be a big Dietrich fan, and so I'm just picturing them, on the set, just this, oh that'd be great. Oh yeah, and I've seen that movie, and oh yeah, it'd be the gorilla suit. Yeah, love it. So, I'm gonna guess just with the energy of her performance that they had a rapport.
Yeah,
it's kind of a shame that I don't think they ever worked again together. Because I know like a couple other people came back. Like he obviously worked with Tommy Lee Jones a couple of times. He worked with Nicole Kidman at least twice.
But they're weird choices. I think Uma is actually more suited to his type of movie.
Yeah. I mean, everyone on this movie got on well. There was no falling out or anything. So it was like, yeah, it's just kind of weird that he just considered it cursed afterwards, where he's like, yeah, that's the one I don't want to go near again. So like nobody from those movies. Like I'll just Colin Farrell forever. That's gonna be my guy from now on. Until he became Batman property too now with the Penguin. So it's weird though that seeing Batgirl and Poison Ivy fighting brings up a couple of things in my mind now, because it's that thing. I don't know if we mentioned it way at the start of the season, but if you watch the adaptation Hush, there's a famous Batman storyline, Hush. It's terrible. I don't like it. Great artwork though, and they adapted it into a movie, an animated film, Hush, which is terrible and just not worth watching at all.
Right.
But they had a actress who played Poison Ivy in the Gotham TV show, Peyton List. She came and voiced Poison Ivy in the Hush movie, and then Batgirl was in that movie, played by Peyton List. But it wasn't the same Peyton List. It was, and it's a revelation to me, because I'd always seen the name bandied about, that there are currently in Hollywood 2 quite well-known actresses, both called Peyton List.
That's
crazy.
insane. What a name.
SAG's not going to go for that. Is there different spelling?
Like, I don't know if you guys watch Cobra Kai.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Tori, she's one of them. She's Peyton the Younger. And then there's Peyton.
That should be her name, Peyton the Younger.
And Peyton the Elder is just like, she's like maybe 10 years older than her, and she's been in like a lot of kind of DTV things, but she's been around. She's been on TV and stuff. And yeah, I've seen Peyton the Younger interviewed about it, and she's like, it's so weird because it's actually my name, but she's using her middle name, but she got there first, so it is kind of a weird SAG thing, but they've just kind of let it slide. But apparently they were both in The Young and the Restless at one point, and Peyton the Younger played the younger version of Peyton the Elder's character. And it said that they've stayed in hotels, like coincidentally stayed in hotels at the same time. And they're always getting each other call sheets and getting each other's phone messages sent to them. And it just seems to be a goddamn nightmare. It's like, and I think that the younger one has said she goes by Peyton R. List sometimes, but I've never seen that. I've only ever seen her as Peyton List, the little girl from Jessie, that I used to watch with my niece when she was growing up, and now Cobra Kai. Who, to be fair to her, would be actually a really good, if not Barbara Gordon Batgirl, she'd be a good Stephanie Brown Batgirl, because she just kind of looks like her. But
yeah, I was just going to say that. Yeah, Peyton List, having seen her on Cobra Kai, yeah, she would be a good Batgirl.
Yeah, totally.
In currently, we wouldn't want to send her back in time to 1995.
No, this time-space continuum thing, you can't
just have to
do it.
be, her parents would just have to show up and say, like, she's not been born yet, man. She's like 20 years old.
Hey, if there's anyone who has experience of this, on this podcast we are regularly traveling through time. So I think we can safely pull it off. It's okay. You're with the experts.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the other thing it makes me think of now is that, in the mid-2000s, they did The Batman TV show, which will now be scrubbed even further from history by The Batman film coming out. And
It's a sequel.
But in that, they had season 3, episode 1, which is ironically when Batgirl first appeared in the 60s show, season 3, episode 1. They had the introduction of Batgirl and Poison Ivy together, and it felt as if it was designed, even though at that stage, it's 2005 when Batman Begins comes out. So you'd think they'd be trying to scrub all memory of Batman and Robin away. But they had them, Batgirl and Poison Ivy are like a thing, and it's like they're best friends. And, before they are their respective alter egos, they're like college girls. I don't know if they're supposed to be in college or they're supposed to be in high school together, because Ivy seems to be very young in it. I get the vibe she's supposed to be 16 or something. But they're kind of like trendy teenage eco-terrorists. And it's kind of and then they're the best of friends until Ivy gets dunked in something called chloro mulch. Which then turns her into Poison Ivy, and she does all the things that she does in this movie, where she tries to seduce Batman. She actually does successfully turn him into a zombie, and then Batgirl has to jump in from the roof and save Batman, and she has a big fight with Poison Ivy, and it's it's kind of as if they were oh yeah, it happened in the movie, so you got to work it into the TV show as well. It's but nobody liked that movie. Well,
okay. So here's a question, because their general consensus, word on the street, not a good movie. But and as you guys have been doing, in the previous 99 minutes on all your guests, have you run into the Star Wars prequel syndrome of the people who saw Batman and Robin when they were 8 and thought it was the greatest thing they'd ever seen, and that bubble still exists? Because I can kind of see by the time The Batman rolls around in 2005, there's somebody who, loved Batman and Robin. So it's well, of course, Batgirl and Poison Ivy go together like a Reese's peanut butter cup. It's just, so I'm just, that's a curiosity, because I wouldn't necessarily, to me in this movie, it's we have these two characters. I guess they work, they're sort of flung together. Go fight.
There's not been too many people saying that.
No, it's much more people who liked it when they were a kid now saying, "Oh God, no, it's terrible."
Okay.
And then there's other people.
There's me who's always liked it.
There's people on the other side who are like, "Oh, I hated it for years because of the reputation, but watching it now, it's actually pretty fun." So there's been a couple. There's been a couple on both sides. I don't think there's been anyone who's had like I grew up with it and I'm staying by this thing. Like it seems to fluctuate with people. You either flip one way or you flip the other way with it.
You can't go back.
I do think now I've noticed what I think is quite bizarre because I love Batman Forever so much. There's more people that prefer Batman and Robin than Batman Forever because they consider Batman and Robin to be like pure because it's like, well, it's only trying to be goofy crap.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, whereas Batman Forever is in between. It's kind of half serious, and they actually did make a serious movie, but then they cut out a load of it, and then they threw in like goofy Two-Face, even though Two-Face isn't supposed to be goofy. So it's like it's this uncomfortable mishmash. But that's all from people who weren't there at the time. Whereas like I was, what you were saying, Brett, like saw it in '95, and I will take a bullet for Batman Forever, even though I spent like 120 episodes of the show talking about all the problems.
we talk about the problems out of love.
Yeah. But it was just a constant like, oh, this could be such a better film. But anyway, it's great anyway. So
that's when watching Batman and Robin for the first time, it actually did lead me to go back to Batman Forever and think, because Batman Forever kind of gets kicked around. It's the ugly stepchild, but just like no, there's a lot of good stuff in that one. And Audra and I watched it last year. Most recent viewing. That's a solid '90s superhero movie.
Yeah, I think it fared better for me doing it through this lens, through the show. Whereas I've always found this one fun. But Forever was the one I was like, that's the one I've seen the least. I'm not really that bothered about it. But analyzing it in this way, I found myself really enjoying that one. Yeah. We haven't actually talked about something at the very beginning, which I found fascinating. So Robin is struggling underwater. Batman's struggling in the sky. They're both entangled in vines. And then Batman whips out what I can only describe as a handy pizza cutter.
Yes.
Like you never know when you're going to need a slice, are you? You got to keep them on you.
We know he likes pizza from the beginning of the movie. I'll cancel the pizza.
Yeah, that's why he's got it. It's like, I had this ready for the pizza.
Yeah.
Like he went to a takeaway one time, and then it was like, they didn't cut it up for me. Oh God, never again, Alfred, never again.
Because I always go for the quick buck over any artistic merit. If he was cutting away, if he'd only looked directly at the camera and said in that Clooney voice, pizza.
I think a pocket table saw could be really popular if they wanted to do some merchandising.
Yeah, my back pocket.
As merch, I just thought you meant in the shop. Like, okay, it's merch for the.
Yeah.
Why not?
Because the little bat emblem and the spinning circular disc. It kind of brought back fond memories to me of Michael Keaton doing the waka waka with the CD in Batman Returns.
Yeah.
So it kind of looked vaguely similar. As if he was looking at himself, like, I want to get more of this in my life. Could we make like a pizza cutter that would...
Well, a wrestler as well who does deathmatch wrestling. His weapon is a pizza cutter. And recently I almost spent 30 English pounds on... He's got his own branded pizza cutter, and he was selling them on Facebook Live. He was signing them like there and then when people put in an offer, like, yeah, I'll have one. And he'd be like, yeah, okay, here we go. I almost bought it, but I thought, well, Chris, I need to save money at the moment.
But you also need to cut pizza.
I couldn't cut a pizza with a signed one. Actually, some people were doing that. Some people were buying a signed one and buying a blank one, and that was my thought process. It's like, so they want one to keep and one to use.
Yeah.
I think though you could get Clooney. Like, I know he jokes about Batman and Robin a lot, but that guy he is very open about how much he'll happily sell things for people. Like all those Nespresso ads. He does freaking ads for this, that, and the other. I can imagine you could say to him, Batman, Buzzsaw, pizza cutter, Clooney. You'd be like, how you gonna pay me? Fine, yeah, I'll do that. as long as I can make a quip about how bad Batman and Robin was,
Yeah.
so people know that I don't think it was good. That's like his little defense mechanism the whole time.
Yeah. And I want to get paid for every time I say pizza. So it's like 25,000 per pizza. Pizza, pay me.
I do wish one of the cast, Arnie might be the closest you'll get to it. But like the director of Troll 2, where he doesn't seem to really get the people are laughing at the movie, and he doesn't see what's wrong with it. I kind of wish like Chris O'Donnell or someone was just really like defensive, like, no, what are you talking about? It's a great movie. Like, what people make fun of all this? What do you want? What do you want from it? All right, that movie's a goddamn masterpiece. But everyone keeps coming out going like, yeah, I know it wasn't good.
Well,
just one person to stand by it and just go, no, I've drawn a line in the sand and say this is a good movie.
Someone should come out and talk about their method acting that they did in this movie and how they prepared for their role and how they were constantly in character on set, that kind of thing.
Like
Arnold
Uma Thurman,
permanently
for
lived in a
example.
freezer.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right.
I think Arnie would be the guy to do it, because I think he you mentioned many times, John, that he still has the free suit. He still shows it to people in his house, and we hear him talk about it. He just has nothing but fond memories of it. So I can imagine him being like, "What? It was supposed to be a stupid movie, and we made a stupid movie. It did exactly what we were supposed to do."
As much as I love Arnold, I think that's how he sees movies. Really, it's like, well, it's how I just make some money.
Yeah.
It's like,
It paid for my deck.
yeah. Well, that is one of the best things I've ever read about Michael Caine. Weirdly tying into Batman, I suppose. It was when someone asked him, like, have you ever seen Jaws 4? Because he's in it. And he was like, no, but I've seen the house that it paid for.
Nice.
Something
We're a team.
I like here is because we go to the fight again, obviously, which we were talking about before, and Ivy comes at her with a whip made of vines, and of course, yet again, I'm thinking, remind you of anyone?
Yeah.
A whip?
And it's like, at that point, it's getting like, it's kind of getting tiresome. Where you're like, oh, there's a few Catwoman comparisons, but now it's just like, she got a whip as well. Come on, man.
She's just Catwoman again.
Yeah, but she's Catwoman without like the without the sympathy, or without like the the drama. It's just
Who
more,
needs sympathy when you have style?
yeah. It's kind of like, it's more like it's a pantomime of Catwoman more than anything, really. But yeah. It was just, that's what I'm saying, man. They didn't utilize the villain they had. They're just like, I'll just do what we did with Catwoman. But could Uma Thurman take the head off those mannequins like Michelle Pfeiffer legitimately did? Like, and they that classic clip of her doing it behind the scenes, and them all been like, holy fuck, she actually did it and stuff.
From what I know of Uma Thurman, I think she would have trained to do it.
Great.
She's
Yeah,
quite
from a
dedicated
Kill
to
Bill
these
era,
Yeah.
Uma Thurman would have been all over that. But like Batman and Robin, she might have been like, yeah. Even Joel Schumacher might have been like, it's not worth it. You can leave that one aside.
Yes.
Quick tangent. Did you guys last year see the Twitter post by Michelle Pfeiffer when she found her whip?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Mm.
That was
I'm
pretty
still-
cute.
In this era where we're getting Flash movie with Michael Keaton, I'm guaranteeing you within the next 5 years, you're gonna get Michelle Pfeiffer, Catwoman, back in some fashion. There'll
Imagine
be
if
some other.
she's in that movie as a surprise.
Could be. That could be one of the things that got lined up. I know DeVito, he wants to play the Penguin again too. It's like, well, you just have to slap the makeup back on him. Like, it's
Yeah, but he's dead.
Yeah, but I mean, friggin', they got a Spider-Man movie with like a bunch of villains who were dead.
That's
Like,
true. That's true.
so
Multiverse.
there's ways
and all
around
that.
these things. But
Damn multiverse.
But when Ivy strikes a little pose to say something, and we cut to what we'll later find out is Barbara's body cam footage of her saying, like, as I told Lady Freeze when I pulled her plug. Pose. This is a one-woman show. Which is just like, while I'm confessing things here as well for you to get on camera, I also murdered Jason Woodrue, seduced an entire ballroom, attempted to steal a diamond.
Exposition, ladies and gentlemen. Exposition. But I do like her kind of Betty Davis delivery. The only thing missing is she should have had a cigarette holder, and like she's like, flicking ashes. So
I don't know, but would Ivy have a problem with smoking? Because I guess it's tobacco that you're using and mixing with chemicals in order to get. So she might consider. But then this version of Ivy seems to be so not all that fussed about the eco part of her personality at this point. She was much earlier, but
She'd smoke American spirits.
I think she'd just be doing an entire, she'd roll her own every time as well.
Yeah. No additives. It's actually a commercial for American spirits.
That's what this
Like
whole
Robin
podcast
came in and
has
she's
been.
just sitting, just like, wait a second, licking it and stuff.
Pocket table saws and American spirits.
We've been secretly plugging merch the whole time to the listeners. We're not really analysing a movie.
Money.
It would have been product placement, but I was really, really kicking myself in editing. So much so that I had to work it into an outro to make up for it and call one of the episodes after it. But we had that whole episode where Robin gets knocked into ice cream and nobody made the joke Baskin Robin.
Whoa!
So upset about it. I was outraged in editing. I was like, I have to work this in now. I'll never forgive myself if we don't get that joke out
I think
there.
it's because you only see Baskin Robbins now when you go to like the cinema.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not as permeant over here, but
It used to be when we were kids. If you remember, every shopping centre would have that cookie place, Millie's Cookies, and Baskin Robbins would be joined onto it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you guys had that 31 flavors.
Yeah, we did.
Wow.
It still persists. If I go to see a movie, they've got it there. That's
Oh
about
no,
it.
the Odeons, they're Ben and Jerry's country.
Yeah.
Where you go in, it's like, oh, here's a scoop. That's £4.50. What the
Yeah,
It's
I
so
love
much
Ben and
better.
Jerry's, but holy crap!
But
I only ever buy it when it's on offer in the supermarket. It's like,
Oh,
oh,
that's
it's
the
half
thing,
price. Oh, yeah.
as people flock to it, then it's like, oh, it's £2 a tub. Get down there as fast as you can. But
Where the hell are we?
but yeah, of course. I guess this is one of the big moments of the movie where Ivy says, like, "Oh, this is a one-woman show," and then pretty lame comeback from Batgirl. I don't think so.
Ooh, yeah, bad delivery.
And yeah, so then she proceeds to just sort of pummel Poison Ivy, knocks her into the plant she was using as a throne. Ivy seems to instantly know that this means defeat for her, says curses, and then the plant eats her, or something, maybe.
Yeah.
Right, I have a question here, which I think is probably going to be on everyone's mind, on the tip of your tongue. Right, so the plant starts to devour her. You know, it's going to be slow. It's like the Sarlacc. So do the plants hate her? Are they not as intelligent as we're led to believe? Does she not control them at all? Why is it eating her?
Yeah, that is every question. This makes no sense.
The answer
At
is
all.
yes.
Yeah. As far
Yes.
as we know, plants don't think on that level.
But she seems to indicate that they do.
She was using the vines, the vines on her command, wrapped up Batman. And when Robin came in, they were like closing the doors behind them as if they're like, yeah, she controls the plants. So why would this plant, which opened on command to reveal her inside this throne, it would be like, yeah, well, she should be able to control this thing. But it could be like, in a better, written script, you might have had something like, I was saying there earlier that Ivy seems to be more, she's not less focused on the eco side of things.
Yep.
She's more into like, oh, I'm just going to go out and kill a bunch of people, and I'm loving that
She's
I'm
a
able
terrorist. Yeah.
to. She's just a flat out terrorist. There's a scene, there's a little bit in the last minute where she kicked over a plant pot and stuff. It could be like the plants were observing her, and now they think like she's just become this egomaniac.
Yeah, that
who's
would be
not-
great, though. That would be an awesome story that you would need to build a bit more.
And she lost her way, and now the plants have turned on her. Like it'd be classic thing of just she got she just lost her focus, and then became far too narcissistic and all about like I love that people are in love with me, and I love that I can manipulate everyone.
Yeah.
And completely forgets her original goal. And now
she's
the plants are now sentient because she made sentient plants, and their children turn on her. Just like Rocky Horror to Frankenfurter.
Or just like Dr. Moreau.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. Exactly like that. And but it's the way that she falls into it, and the way she knows as soon as she lands that this thing is going to eat me. Like, you could have had a thing where she was setting it up to, I'm going to knock Batgirl into it, and it will eat her, and then she accidentally gets knocked into it, and she's like, oh no, I've been felled by my own trap.
That would make a bit of sense, at least.
Yeah, but she's supposed to be able to control the plants. Like, what the hell's going on?
Just go, hey,
But the plant,
no.
the plant doesn't eat her because we see her later.
Yeah, but it's like it just smushes her.
Yeah,
for a bit.
Well,
then
I
that's
think that it
Shoes
not
on her
eat-
a little bit.
Yeah, it not eating her is the Sarlacc thing in effect, right? Plants that eat things, it's very slow, isn't it?
Very slow.
But it's the fact that it's also taken like that's her defeated, as if they're like, "Yep, there's no way she's getting out of that one." It's
Yeah,
like,
when she
"Good
can
job
easily
with that."
slip out of the bottom.
Yeah. And it's
Oh, it baffled
What
me.
I wonder here, though, is this. I would like to think this is the giant rubber plant from Little Shop of Horrors, the musical. This is, they got it. They borrowed it
Maybe.
from Frank Oz. It was in his closet. Oh, you want this?
Yeah.
It should just be
and
the
there's-
character as well. It should be like, feed me, I feed.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you could
totally,
just
yeah.
you could turn this into a musical, and people will be like, "Sure."
Yeah.
And it's the friggin' it's that guy back singing. He's just doing the voice again, and the plant sings now, and that's the climax of the movie.
Let's do it.
Although, have you seen the Harley Quinn animated show? That's I think it's
No.
on HBO Max now. Oh, you should watch. It's friggin' fantastic. But they do have this kind of Audrey 2, sorry.
Hello?
But they've got an Audrey 2 plant for Poison Ivy, who's voiced by J.B. Smoove, and
Nice.
yeah, he's great. He's also called Frank as a little nod to Frank Oz, obviously there as well.
Perfect.
Although
Perfect.
if you watch like the original the Roger Corman Little Shop and then the Frank Oz Little Shop, both of them do end with Seymour getting eaten by the plant. And I think the Corman version ends in a weird version, like where Seymour's face is at the side of the plant, then as if it's like assimilated him, which could be a
Yeah.
cool thing to work in here. Like Ivy becomes from plant lady into literally part of a plant, and she's like fused into it somehow. That'd be kind of creepy and cool, but maybe too much for this movie because it's kind of like, well, it's for kids. But I wonder if it was a little bit of a tribute to that. They're like, oh, she gets eaten by the big Little Shop plant, like those guys did, like Rick Moranis and the other dude. But
It's all just men's fear of vaginas, ultimately.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
it could be. I mean, there might be a spin on that. Yeah, maybe you could read that as an artistic interpretation, and they'll be like,
Watch
yeah,
out,
sure.
boys. Watch out, boys. She'll chew you up.
Hey.
Man eater.
But yeah, if you
There
take
you
her to be
go.
a vagina, because some people might say she's almost toxic femininity, and now she's
Yep.
getting eaten by a giant vagina. It's like, oh, there's some kind of comment on that.
Well,
Kinda.
and she's been bested by the other branch of feminism.
Ah, there you go. Oh, now we cracked it. There you go. I think this is them stepping it up too, because I think in the script and in the novelization, it's just Batgirl just knees Ivy in the face.
I love that though, because that sounds so brutal. The way it's described, like she just knees her right in the face. Like holy crap.
But I feel though I'm disappointed by this, to be quite honest with you, in terms of an ending. But it feels like all your Batman villains have to have a big ending. Joker freaking falling off the church tower, Oswald going into the gunk, and then freaking the Penguin funeral, the Riddler getting his whole head mangled with the box. It has to be something cool.
That's true.
So I feel like, she just gets eaten in the head, and that's her down. It's like, no, we gotta do something. Oh, maybe she gets eaten by the giant plant. And then they're like, should we stop to think about that? No.
Go with it. I'll tell you what though, she does get one really cool bit in this minute. It's when Batgirl goes to kick her, and she catches the leg with her vines and then pulls her to the ground. Like that was genuine. That looked painful.
Well, that should have been the whole fight. There should have been stuff like that all the
Yeah.
time, with vines coming at her left and right, and because Barbara Gordon, not Barbara Wilson, I guess, she would be a gymnast, so she'd be able to zip past all the stuff. But I think it's all budgetary. And it's just like we couldn't do that. We spent too much on the freeze ray and the other scenes. So
Well,
She
plus-
does the splits, though, right? This is like an excuse for her to do like amazing splits.
Yeah.
this was Jean-Claude Van Damme insisting upon his cameo. Came
Yeah.
Little known that
on the
Jean-Claude Van
way.
Damme was Alicia's stunt double.
in. Yeah, made friends with Arnie in Predator, and he got him a job on this too. But I don't know if you guys picked it up, but so Ivy goes like curses, which is like classic bullshit villain thing to say.
Yeah.
Always reminds me of Mojo Jojo from the Powerpuff Girls now. Yes. But when she's in there, she says something else. And I've got, because those things, like this scenario doesn't feature in the novelization or the script, I can't make out what she says. But she says like she says something in a high shriek. And I cannot make out what it is. Like, did you guys pick up on this at all?
I
But
just
love
thought it was
plants.
yelling or screaming, just ah.
So did
don't
I.
know.
That's why I didn't even look it up.
Yeah, but I love plants.
Well, you just got your. Oh, she's saying I love plants.
Yeah, but I love plants. Yeah, that's.
Oh, that's-
I'm just guessing.
I mean, that's as close as anything. Like, again, that would work if there was some sort of little subplot where it's like the plants are observing her and saying that she's turned. It's like she's lost her way,
Yeah.
and then her going, "But I love plants." Is like, oh no, you did love plants, but now you're all about you, Ivy. You don't care about anybody else. It's
The plants had this underground meeting where they're like, man, she sold out.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a sellout.
mm.
Yeah.
You know
It
what I
could've been
saw
s-
her doing the other day? She was eating a Cobb salad. What's up with that?
But yeah, I mean that was the defeat of Poison Ivy. We do see her later on briefly for like 2 minutes, but yeah, that was after all the love we had for her the whole movie, and after all the big build up of her and stuff. There she was, kicked into her own plant and swallowed for some reason.
Is that the new version of hoisted by their own petard? Like kicked
Yes.
into your own.
Yes, it's a 1996 version or 97. It's a 90s. It's a 90s petard.
We gotta make it hip. It's gotta be cool. And then we see Batman freeing himself with his pizza cutter, and something else has come to mind. The way he frees himself, it reminds me of R2-D2 in Return of the
Nice.
Jedi.
And then like, he's saying to Robin, tell them you're a god, and the plants will believe you.
Yes. Well, they probably would. That'd be a good plot twist, actually.
Yeah.
But Robin joins him. How? How did he just manage to untangle himself finally?
I guess so.
I guess that was very anticlimactic.
There's also a little vibe too, like having the pizza cutter there was like, should Batgirl free them? It's like, nah, it's too emasculating. Like they get themselves out. They would have been fine without her, but
These are men's men.
yeah, it's really like, no, we can't have Batman be saved by somebody else. Come on, but
By a girl.
yeah, pretty much. We'll have her in there. We'll have our little chicks like you give woman a bad name speech, but we're not having Batman be saved by a girl.
But then we do have again the shot we talked quite a bit about in our last episode, and that's Robin's head coming out of the water and not going back in a reverse.
Mhm.
That's the shot, the actual shot, which was morphed in the previous minute.
It's I'm 99.9% sure you're right. Like looking at it again now that we've talked about it, it's got to be the same. I can't see any difference at all. I've got them side by
yeah.
side.
Wow. Yeah. They're if nothing else, it's an alternate take
Yeah.
that they use. But they are so close. It was, definitely. So I don't know. Bad editing.
Terrible, terrible. This is why you do more than one take, though. Get loads of shots. Do it. Because you're not going to get that actor back in that water.
Yeah. Move the camera.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's
Yeah.
only a movie.
Yeah. We get a glimpse of something at the end as well. Oh, no, we don't actually. No. Ignore me. We find out from Batman, and Robin, Freeze is going to ice the city. Oh, my God. What's going to happen? What's going to happen?
Yeah. We'll have to find out.
Is it a bad thing, really? Like, one city? It's not like the world.
I mean, first Gotham, then the world. So.
Yeah, but, once he's frozen one city, then the world at large will be alerted to his scheme. So they can take him down.
That was his original scheme way back at the beginning. It was like, first I'll hold Gotham ransom, and then the world's leaders will have no choice but to give me the billions I need to continue my research. But then Ivy was like, no, just freeze everything. Like, it's going to be just, why not just keep going? Now Nora's dead.
Yeah.
That
so
is
he's
true.
like, yeah, You gotta keep going. Gotta freeze everything.
She was the bad influence. Look, women, bad influence on men.
Although, how is he gonna get like? Oh, actually, no. He'd probably do something with the satellites. I was gonna say, how would he move that giant freeze ray to everywhere else in the world? But I'm assuming it will have something to do with those satellites. But
Yeah, it never really goes into it.
no.
Well, on that note, should we head off into the dark, dark night?
Yeah, I think that was Bat Minutes 101.
101.
Well done.
Yes, we're off now,
Well
listeners. So do enjoy the rest of your week and make sure to come back and listen to us again on Friday, because we'll be wrapping up the week with our lovely guests. And you know what? 102. It's going to be exciting.
Wear a sweater.
Next time, the name game. Batgirl. Batgirl, Batgirl, Bo Batgirl, Banana Fana Faux Girl, Fee-Fi Mo Mat Girl, Batgirl. And with the hyacinth of hate's weeds thoroughly whacked, it's time to welcome a new bat to the pack. And as monikers are pulled in triple time by our team, which the Sultan of Shivers is about to begin blasting with his jumbo ice beam, there's a defeated Ivy discussing of ID on Friday, Bat fans. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.
We'll be back.
back.